Today we're going to make the famous Steinin 10-minute French bread recipe. 10 minutes of labor to make one of the best breads you'll ever have. So we're going to start by proofing the yeast. A tablespoon of yeast in a bowl. Add a little warm water. It's warm to your finger touch. And you let the yeast proof in the bowl. While that's doing so, we're going to measure 4 cups of flour. This is enough for 2 loaves of French bread. And you can change this recipe however you like. You can add, you can double it, triple it, add boiled rice to it. You get an amazing number of different loaves off this basic French bread recipe. So that's 4 cups of flour. You see I'm not being super careful about the measurements because it doesn't matter. And 1 tablespoon of salt. And mix the dry ingredients up with a nice wooden spoon. Okay, so the yeast should have proofed in just a few minutes. The purpose of proofing is just to determine that the yeast is alive, and nowadays most yeast is always alive, it comes out of the refrigerator. So merely add the yeast mixture to the dry ingredients and use more water once again, add it to the same bowl to kind of wash the yeast out of the bottom of the bowl. And now this is the trickiest part, is determining how much water to add. And after years of experience, about 38, you get a feel for the bowl coming away, or the dough coming away from the sides of the bowl, and you'll know it's just about right when it looks like this. That's perfect. So we stop it, move over to our kneading surface, put some flour on the kneading surface. Pull the dough out of the bowl. Might be too sticky, you need more flour. This is just about right. Now comes the most important trick learned over these years. Most recipes for bread will tell you to knead the dough for about 5 minutes. We just need to knead it long enough to get it to a nice consistent ball. And then we are going to let it rest while we clean the mixing bowl. And it turns out it's just time, not the kneading, that's making the gluten grow. So right now the gluten molecules are forming while I wash the bowl. Cut. Okay, another benefit you'll find in washing the bowl is if you wash it with warm water, you've actually warmed the bowl up, which makes it the ideal place to raise the bread in. So the first rising is going to be in this bowl. Dry it off. Now we come back to the lump of dough and we're going to continue to knead it just to get that gluten formed until it's nice and soft. It's the best feel for the dough is going to come after the first rising. So you can see the kneading process is just pulling one side over, pushing it down, always in the same direction until you have a nice ball. Then you drop it in the bowl. No need to butter the bowl. And another modern invention in bread raising is to cover it with a plastic bag from the grocery. Unfortunately, these may be hard to come by in the future, but for now, this is the best way to raise bread. Leave it in the bowl for about 2 hours. Okay, now we are going to, after the first rising, we're going to prep a pan. So just take a regular old cookie sheet. Actually, the heavier the better. And then comes the most critical portion of the whole job, which is forming the loaves. Notice how that's more than doubled in bulk. Today's a nice cool day, so it's perfect for bread rising. And we're just simply going to pull that loaf out of the bowl, put the bowl away for cleaning. And now we start kneading. And you want to knead this pretty good. And you're going to get this beautiful, silky texture. And you notice it's actually getting hard to squish it down because it's such a nice ball. Look at that. Perfect. Now we're going to cut it in half. We're going to make 2 loaves out of this. The gluten is formed, so it's getting hard to form into anything except a ball, but we're going to try and stretch it out into French bread style loaves. What we do is we take each one of them, work on them one at a time because you want a little relaxation between working of it. This method is actually the Julia Child method of making a loaf, a French bread loaf. Notice I'm just punching each one down in the middle and pinching it closed. That's forming this like gluten shell around it, which makes for the nice crunchy crust. I'm going to roll it out a little because I'm looking for getting it the right length to match the bread pan. Do that again. So you just do that over and over until you get nice long loaves. With practice you get better and better look, and you pop that into the pan. Now, the French bready part, you slice them. Just slice them, cut them deep, and let it rise for about another hour. Alright, it's been about an hour and a half, and look at these beautiful loaves. They've risen wonderfully, and we're going to pop them in the oven. The oven has been preheated to 350, but we're going to change the temperature after we put it in to, the oven's been preheated to 400, we're going to change it to 350. So we're going to open it up, and we're going to actually put some water in there to create some steam. That makes them pop up. And that's hot. And now we're going to wait 35 minutes at 350 until they're done. Okay, it's been 35 minutes, so we're going to take the bread out of the oven. Is that beautiful or what? Okay, let's see how this bread looks. Chop it open. Good crisp crust. Look at that beautiful crumb. That's what it's called on the inside. And then of course the final test is just how good does it taste with butter on it. Oh, so good.